I'm not trying to victim blame here.
We support military prisons.
No, that's
Sorry.
not the takeaway.
Devin supports
that's not
military.
The takeaway. It's not the takeaway.
Dude, Mickey Mouse doing lines is such a... It is such a mental image, bro. Welcome to Lost the Plot. Today we're going to be talking about Superman 2025.
2025 specifically.
Specifically and exclusively. We're
Not
not going to
the
be
old
talking
one.
about anything else. No overlap whatsoever. This is the first Superman movie, actually.
Okay.
It was a good one.
Okay.
It was a good first movie about Superman.
There's a lot to unpack there.
What do you mean? What do you mean? What do you mean?
Well, I think before we get into the movie,
Yeah.
we do have to talk about kind of where the movie lands, in kind of
In
the
theaters,
wider
July
DC.
of last year.
Okay. The wider DC
This year.
plan. This movie comes after DC's very unsuccessful, largely unsuccessful, I guess you could say, attempt to create their own cinematic universe. So this comes in after they have James Gunn brought in to kind of clean up their universe. He comes in for the Suicide Squad. He tries to touch up The Flash and the sequel to Aquaman and maybe steer the ship in a better direction, and they just can it completely. Movies aren't making money. Audiences don't have faith. Nobody's enjoying it. And so they've gone the reboot route. So this movie has the dual tasks of kicking off a new universe and also reintroducing Superman to just general audiences. You know, we had Henry Cavill's Superman. He was a bit more grounded, a bit more serious, a bit more dour, I think is the word a lot of people would use.
Yeah.
And so this movie consciously positions itself as, for all intents and purposes, the first Superman movie. You know, it is Superman. Just Superman. No subtitle. No nothing. It just drops you in. Hope you know who Superman is. They're hitting the ground running.
Yeah. No, yeah, it does assume that you know who he is and what his background is, except for they don't hold it as, like, gospel. Like, they don't strictly hold to the Superman lore. But I did like how I didn't know how I would like them just dropping you in with, oh, Superman loses his first battle and this is where we're rolling from now on. I think I really liked it because it was new, and maybe it was just because I'd seen Superman movies so many times. Same with Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Where you hear the story over and over and over again, and I just want one where it just starts off, assuming you already know the story. And then they drop breadcrumbs along the way. That's what they did in the new Spider-Man too.
Yeah.
So
just
I ended up I ended up liking that part of it. But I don't know what your thoughts are on it.
Overall, I liked it. I will say I think this movie gets off to a weird start. I'm not a huge fan of the text at the beginning of the film.
Really?
Yeah, it's not.
I thought it was. I don't know.
It's not doing it for me.
Why?
It comes across as, I guess, really blunt and in your face. Like there's nothing communicated in that opening crawl that I feel like couldn't have been communicated. It couldn't have been communicated better off somewhere in the film. For example, like it does this motif of threes. You know, like 300 years ago, I think metahumans arrived. 3 years ago, Superman came down or revealed himself. You know, it goes through these threes, but it doesn't do 3 months. That's like the one number that's conspicuously absent from that.
Yeah.
And then later on in the film, we discover in the interview scene at Lois's apartment that Lois and Clark, they've been dating for 3 months. And so like that's the missing 3, you know, and it's like, well, that's communicated pretty effortlessly. I think just throughout the course of the film, there's nothing stopping the movie from doing like a documentary almost. Like he works at the Daily Planet. And so I feel like it'd be real easy to have him go to a museum opening. He's reporting on a local story. We're opening a metahuman museum. He's going through the exhibits, something quick like that, you know, where he's just a couple of shots, a couple of plaques, show him as a reporter, you know. I feel like something like that where it's integrated into the film works a bit better than kind of taking you out of the film first thing. Because I was very worried when I first saw the exposition at the beginning. I was like, oh, it's going to be one of these films where it just talks to you the whole time. And it really wasn't.
Yeah. No, I mean,
yeah.
To your point, you don't see him as a reporter.
Yeah.
at all. He shows up to work, sits at his desk, and that's it.
Yeah, he never chases a story. He never reports on anything. He does like Superman interviews, but it's kind of the Peter Parker thing, where he's giving like himself interviews or himself photos.
And it's all off screen.
We never see Peter Parker as a reporter either, to be fair.
But he's a photographer.
It's true.
Right?
Well,
Like
but again,
and they play into that
he's submitting photos of Spider-Man. So like,
Yeah.
it's the Superman thing where he's like, oh, well, I called Superman and he gave me this quote.
Yeah, and this one they don't really play on that, or in the new Spider-Man movies, they don't play on his photography or anything like that.
Yeah.
Yet anyway.
I would have liked. I really liked this movie. So I don't mean to harp on it. I feel like it would have been interesting to get a scene showing who is he as Clark, who is he as a reporter, and then use that as a vehicle for the kind of the themes of the film, because one of the things the film very consciously does is it addresses how the public sees Superman. And one of the big inciting incidents is the public's opinion sours on Superman. So it'd be really interesting, I think, if you had a scene towards the beginning of him going to this new metahuman museum. Because, the Hall of Justice is just opening up, and so maybe they have a small museum there at the Hall of Justice. You already have the set for it. You already have the gigantic mural of all those metahumans. Something like that, where he sees a little exhibit on Superman. Maybe sees some kids or somebody reacting to it positively. And so there's this idea up front of Superman is well liked. He's viewed positively. And he, as Clark, has to interact with the public. And we could get a scene of him interacting with the public as Clark, and then all of the scenes establishing him as Superman. It's not a bad start to the film by any means. I think it could have been a bit better. But that's a personal opinion.
Yeah, I think it sets the tone for James Gunn wanting this to be a different kind of Superman.
Yeah.
There's multiple things he does in the movie that show that this is different. This isn't the same Superman you saw in Man of Steel or in the original Superman films.
Yeah.
He's trying to do his own thing, because I kind of liked how you're just dropped into the middle of the action.
I do like that.
And I'm caught up to speed immediately in 15 seconds in a very poetic way with the sets of threes, telling the whole story of Superman and then immediately introducing him losing.
Yeah.
And I think it set it off on a good tone. I enjoyed it.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Like, it's not an objectively bad decision.
Yeah.
Like Star Wars does the text at the beginning. Plenty of movies do text at the beginning. I'm just not the biggest fan of that particular technique.
Yeah. No, I think that's fair.
I will say, though, that being said, one of the things that I do wish they'd done is that this film, it takes place over the course of a week.
Yeah.
And initially, they were going to have, like, title cards for each day. So whenever it would cut to the next day, it would say, like, Monday or Tuesday. Something like that, I think, would have been really nice to kind of emphasize that week structure. Because that's not exposition. It's just...
I feel like it ups tension.
Yeah,
a little
flags
bit
the passage
subtly.
of time, and
Yeah.
you kind of get like the movie. It's a week in the life of Superman, like something like that. I think would have been good. I'm pretty sure they cut it in test screenings. I don't think it test screened very well. But you're right. It adds tension. It's kind of a countdown. As you get to the end of the week.
What happens on Saturday?
Yeah. What are we building up to?
Yeah.
I think having something like that, just a signposts for the audience, because I think there's a lot of people who'll see the movie and they'll not ever think, oh, this was a week in the life. I think signposting it would have been good. But
yeah,
I do like the structure of the film. It takes place over a very short period of time.
Yeah, and I wonder what kind of message that would have sent if it had been a week in the life of Superman. Would that have reduced the stakes? And maybe that's part of why they cut it, because it's like, oh, this is just a week in the life of Superman. What's the problem?
Yeah.
He does this every week. The only thing different about this week is that he lost.
Yeah.
And then it's like, is next week going to have an even bigger villain? Or is it going to go back to normal? So I could see how it'd be a little conflicting.
I can see that.
The narrative that they're trying to
That
portray.
one's a fair choice. Again, it's just what kind of movie you want to make, what kind of emphasis you want to have. I think overall they struck a really good tone. Because again, the main things this movie has to do is kick off a new universe and reintroduce Superman. And it does those tasks extraordinarily well, in my opinion.
Yeah. I think James Gunn did a good job with Superman himself,
Yeah.
because he ends up being pretty much like the Superman that we all know by the end of the film.
Yeah.
I think anything that any critiques that we have are going to be for characters and other plot threads he chose to make, like, and decisions he chose to go with. Because Superman himself was a message of hope by the end. He still kind of had his invulnerable nature by the end of the movie, without being, indestructible.
Well, and he has all of these
inhuman.
he has all of these fun quirks to his language. He says stuff like golly and gosh.
Yeah.
He sounds like a Midwestern kid who was raised on a farm. Like, there's all these fun character quirks that really elevate the portrayal.
Yeah, he's kind of relatable in that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think they portrayed that part really well. I do think there were times where James Gunn was trying too hard. And I think, namely, that was in the message to Superman from his parents.
Okay.
I don't.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you want to hit before we kind of dive into some of the creative decisions that James Gunn made that kind of set it apart from other Superman movies?
I mean, we can do a quick overview of the
Sure.
movie up to that point, I
Sure.
think. He's Superman. He fights the Hammer of Bravia, who's revealed to be Ultraman, working for Lex Luthor. He stops a potential war between the fictional countries of Bravia and Jaranpur. And then he kind of just keeps doing it. He keeps saving people. And really the inciting incident of the film is Lex Luthor steals this message from his parents and then restores it and plays the full thing. So we kind of have this establishment of it's a world with heroes. You have Green Lantern, Mr. Terrific, Hawkgirl. You have these kaiju monsters that show up sometimes. And I think this Lex Luthor, he's very intimidating. He's very cool. He does look like young Sheldon for the entire film.
Yeah.
That's my opinion.
Yes.
He looks like
I
young
agree.
Sheldon
I
in the
agree.
best possible way. Especially the scene in the office where he just grabs the cup off the desk before Superman throws the whole thing into the window. Like, you look like you're 12.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
In the best possible way, because he really embodies the smugness.
A lot of people
The
didn't like the
pettiness.
portrayal. Yeah, but
Oh,
I
loved it.
think it was
He's petty. He's
Yes.
childish. He comes across as simultaneously intimidating, but kind of out of touch with the average person, maybe. It's a really fun portrayal, because then you have this really human Superman who just effortlessly fits into social situations and is a bit too idealistic at times, versus very pessimistic, very childish Lex Luthor. It's a good dynamic, and it sets that up very strongly. What's your take on the message from his parents? You said you thought James Gunn was trying a bit too hard. Tell me more about that.
I think so. I like the idea of Superman's parents, the message that is repeated throughout every iteration of Superman, of him being sent down to help the people of Earth.
Yeah.
To save him and then help the people of Earth. I think changing that to make it more malicious is an interesting choice, and I like the idea, but I didn't like how the message existed that in that form from his parents, and Lex Luthor was like, "We just got lucky." Like it was like it was like, I didn't even have to do anything. It was even better than I thought it would have been. that it was even better than I thought.
It is.
I'm like, that's just lazy. That's just so late, blatantly.
I think one of the things that I've seen, at least in enduring conversations about the film, I get it's a pretty recent film, but there are still people who are holding out that that's not a legitimate message from his parents.
Yeah, except for they have Mr. Terrific going like, dude, it's legit. Yeah, and that's it. Like that's it. Like they say something about 28 linguists looked at it and said, and that could have been part
alien
of
technology.
Lex Luthor could have paid those people off.
But to
do that.
I see people and they're like, oh, maybe it was Brainiac.
No.
Maybe he changed it before it even got to the planet.
No, okay.
But what I think's most salient about it is there's clearly people who feel a cognitive dissonance at the message and are reaching for some way to resolve it. I kept waiting in the film for when's it gonna When's the real twist going to happen? Be like,
Yeah.
it's fine. I think some people went out of the movies being like, oh, well, I should still expect that twist. You know, it can't be this straightforward. The parents can't be evil. Clearly, there's more to the story. And I think some people, they're like, oh, maybe it's Brainiac, or maybe it's a twist for the next one. Because there is something about it that feels bizarre. I think on two different levels. First, the way they're talking about it is just a bit comedically evil. You know, his dad's there, and he seems a bit tired almost. It's like, your planet's about to blow up. You are all about to die. And you are recording the last message to your son, which he's going to view for the rest of his life. And you're going, we believe in you, you know, do good things, probably start a harem, probably rule everything. I really help these ants, these pathetic, dirty guys, and really lift him up. It's like, I don't think he would say that.
No.
I think if you know you're about to die and you're never going to see your kid get raised, you're never going to see him grow up, I don't think you're saying that in this disinterested, mellow tone.
Unless it's just how they are.
And
that's just
possible.
how the Kryptonians are.
But then
Stoic,
I would want to see,
and then that
that's possible.
That contrasts well with the Midwestern upbringing of Superman.
That's possible.
Because he's very expressive, he's very caring, and he's open about it. He's willing to make rash decisions to save other people, compared to the stoic nature of the Kryptonians.
So one thing, there's similar twists in series like Invincible, you know, where spoilers for Invincible. It's been out for a long time. The comic's been out for like 20 years. So if you haven't read it at this point, go read it. That's on you. But there's a twist there where like the Superman character is evil. But when he reveals that he's evil, they do like a flashback. And it's a long flashback. It's like, well, all of this historical flashback content probably is now fake. I think the problem with the Kryptonian twist is we only have that short video. You know, we don't have a documentary about Krypton. We don't see more of the people. We really see two of them in front of a green screen. And I think it's the lack of wider context about Krypton that makes it a bit hard to stomach. Maybe they are just super stoic. Maybe they're this weird, you know, a bit emotionless people, and Superman is this aberration because he is this very human element of hope who's raised on a farm. And maybe like that's the contrast that they're going for. I would just want to see like a video or another Kryptonian, you know, a surviving Kryptonian maybe, who's super stoic, something like that to give kind of a wider context to the culture.
Sure.
I think the other issue that at least I have with the twist is they push this narrative, which I think it's crucial and essential to the character of Superman, but it's like, well, he's an immigrant, right? America's a country of immigrants. Superman is an alien, literally. And he's the most American, right? So there's always been that element to his character. Making his parents super malicious and having this weird undercurrent of go to this place, take it over. It's like, I probably wouldn't depict immigrant parents like that in my film. You know,
you wouldn't?
Because then there's the subtext. Because it's like, oh, well, Superman, the audience is able to say, Superman's one of the good ones. And it's like, I don't think they should be able to say that in the movie. I don't think that should ever be the takeaway. I think Superman should be the best of America, right? He's the quintessential hero. And I think the weird framing with the Kryptonians, it's like, it undercuts that central theme of the story, you know, because he's an immigrant. And the movie, I get that they're positioning it as like this trial he has to go through, but I think that they're ignoring the immigrant angle of it. Making his parents malicious is a weird twist when viewed from that lens, because it makes Lex Luthor a lot more justified, you know, in keeping the aliens out. And I don't think that that's because the only takeaway at that point is like, well, Superman is different. It's like, well, that shouldn't be the takeaway.
The takeaway for the movie, one of the takeaways was his dad, his Earth dad, saying that just your parents can't dictate who you become or what you do.
For sure.
And that was at the end of the movie. Superman says, "Hey, pull up videos from my childhood," and it's his Earth parent. It's not his Kryptonian parents.
Yeah.
That's what he goes to now for comfort.
Yeah.
And I guess that could still work if Brainiac is trying to put, or somebody is trying to put Superman in a very specific emotional state of mind.
Yeah.
For some sort of evil purpose. That could still work. It just seems like the whole movie is kind of, in one sense, it would justify the whole idiotic, oh, well, this is it, the video was just the way it was.
Yeah.
We just stumbled upon it. And Lex in turn, I think he is talking to the president of Baravia.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, it was just the way it was. He's not performing in front of any cameras. So like he legitimately believes that this was the way the video was meant to be shown to Superman in the state.
Yeah.
So
it's an odd choice.
Yeah.
Because there's a bit of luck in the villain's plan, and it undercuts so many of the ideas central to the character.
I still like the thought, though. I appreciated taking the risk.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. But I think that the execution was lazy, unless he's thinking 5 films ahead.
Which is
possible.
But
then it could just feel like retconning it.
The next film that they have down the pipeline is Supergirl. And then they do have the Superman sequel the year after that. So it's clearly something in their minds. But it will feel like a retcon. And I think people are expecting that based on the reactions I was seeing. It's also a very James Gunn move. I think James Gunn, he likes to hit a couple of tropes. He tells a very specific story in all of his work, right? It's a found family. It is often with this lens of, well, the biological dad is bad and the adoptive dad is good, right? That's Guardians. That's Thanos to a degree. He's very interested in like this fatherhood. Of like, well, maybe the biological dad was bad, but the adoptive dad was good. Maybe the adoptive dad was bad, and there was no biological dad in the picture. He explores it in some of his other works as well. Stuff like The Suicide Squad, stuff like Peacemaker. A lot of his work explores these ideas of, what if your father was bad? Often with the lens of like, well, the father you find is better. I think it works for Superman because he is this character with two sets of parents. But also that, and then some of the fight scenes that are set to music, I feel like those are James Gunn. It's like... Oh,
the Mr. Terrific fight is all James Gunn.
Well, and don't get me wrong, it's a phenomenal scene.
Yes.
But it's a phenomenal James Gunn scene. If anyone else directed the movie, it doesn't make it in.
Yeah, and for him to fit in a movie like that...
It isn't a bad thing.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite scenes. I really like it. But I just, you have to smile to yourself. You're like, oh yeah, James Gunn directed this movie.
Oh yeah, I forgot until right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like taking the risks. I like the bold moves. I like not just doing Superman again.
Yeah.
I think people are getting tired of the same old stories over and over and over again.
Yeah.
And that's something we could maybe talk about at the end of talking about Superman, the film. If movies, like superhero movies, are going to keep doing well, with fatigue probably after the MCU and some of the DC movies too.
Yeah.
But speaking of Lex, he's kind of the main driver of the whole film. He's kind of behind everything. I liked how, as Superman is trying to, he's dealing with, I can't remember what he's dealing with at the time. I think he's fighting Ultraman, and Lois and the other reporters at the Daily Bugle, right? This Daily Bugle, Daily Planet, and Superman. They're piecing it together. So he's just fighting Lex and Ultraman. But they're piecing together the geopolitical lay of the land and like how long Lex has been pulling the strings behind the scenes just to kill Superman, and that goes back to his petty nature. Because he feels threatened. Because I saw a comment. I was watching a recap of the movie, and they were like, "This is such a stupid movie." Lex is doing all of this just to kill Superman and get the Pentagon's attention. He has a black hole. He has a pocket dimension. And he's doing this just to kill Superman? And I was like, see, that to me makes it even better.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
I like
he's so petty. Because just because he's rich
pettiness.
doesn't mean that he's very smart and he's very rich, but he's also incredibly immature. And the amount of money and being smart made it to where he didn't have to be very mature.
Well, and it's not enough that he kills Superman. He has to humiliate him.
Yes.
You know, he has to destroy his public image.
Like a schoolyard bully.
Yeah.
Like an 8-year-old. And I think that works
so
really
good.
well. I'm impressed that he was able to pull it off.
Yeah.
Because it's such a fine needle to thread. Now, I do think that his evilness peaked way too early in the film.
Okay. Interesting.
So whenever he just point blank shoots that civilian after 2 rounds of Russian roulette, and
that was a really good scene.
Seeing him, like, it's the combination of he's captured all of his opponents and put them in prisons at his pocket dimension, and then he shows him crypto.
Yeah.
And he says that he's going to die a very painful death after being poked and prodded for his whole life. And then he just shoots a civilian in front of him.
Yeah.
And then shows him that he took this dude's baby captive to use him for his kryptonite. Like, it's crazy, and it makes Lex this crazy bad guy. But then you still have like 45 minutes left of the movie. And he doesn't do a single other evil thing that's like makes you go, whoa, that's crazy. Besides invading Jarhanpur, is that how you say it?
Yeah.
Is that the
I think
country?
we see an escalation in his pettiness and his irrationality, because he'll do things like, oh, I'm gonna leave open the black hole portal and it's gonna eat the whole city and I don't even care because they like Superman and they're lame for liking him. It's like, well, that's insane. That is an insane level of hating that he is displaying. I do think he's the most villainous about midway through the film. He becomes more petty and more angry as the film goes on. And I really liked the dynamic where he does the Russian roulette and he shoots the guy. I think his name is Malik, I think. I'm not 100% sure on that character's name. But just the setup where you see Superman get smashed into the ground, the food cart vendor, he helps him up, and then that's the guy that Lex kidnaps just because he helped Superman up that one time. And he shoots him 2 rounds in to the Russian roulette, which is, it's really good because you always expect it to go on the last one. You know, oh, they're going to do 5 blanks back and forth, and then finally they're going to shoot. But it was just the second one.
The second that one
deafening.
That was that was such a good choice. Because they always play Russian roulette, and it's like there's only 6 chambers in there. You fired it 7 times. Like, that's technically possible, but you're just building up the tension, and then Lex is almost just like throws the gun away. I'm like, is going to go try to find somebody else, and it's used very well because that's what makes, I think his name's Metamorpho, help Superman, because he realizes that his fear of losing his son isn't worth other people dying.
Yeah,
and so. What did you think about the whole Kryptonite thing with Metamorpho?
I think it's a good workaround. The problem with Superman stories is always, how much Kryptonite is there? How did it get here? And
did they say in the movie that all the other Kryptonite had been destroyed?
They say that in the film.
Yeah, that they had gotten all the Kryptonite.
They say that, but that's kind of a meaningless statement. Because it's just stating that all the kryptonite they're aware of,
the known kryptonite,
is destroyed. So for all we know, it's like a handful. It's like a little diamond maybe that they existed in the past.
It's like vibranium in the MCU, quite literally.
So this is something that's interesting. James Gunn, he's gotten a lot of flack for this, but he kind of came into the old DC universe halfway through, and he did a little bit of his own thing, and he had to do a little bit of the old. So in the Suicide Squad, most of it's new characters, but he has to include a couple of characters from just Suicide Squad. So Harley Quinn's there, some other characters are there. And then in this new universe, James Gunn primarily is bringing over anybody that he liked or anybody that he personally created. One of those characters is a character named Bloodsport. And in the Suicide Squad, they say he is in jail because he shot Superman with a kryptonite bullet. And that is of debatable canonicity at the moment. James Gunn says it's canon because he likes Bloodsport and wrote his character. So it's possible that the kryptonite they're talking about that existed and was destroyed was only enough for one bullet. Maybe. And then maybe it was this one singular incident, you know? Maybe he got shot with a kryptonite bullet once.
But didn't lose.
But didn't lose. Maybe got shot. He still put up a valiant fight, but he got injured. Or maybe that's not canon at all. We have no idea. And probably won't for a very long time. But that's the only other mention of kryptonite in a James Gunn project, to the best of my knowledge.
Okay. That could be canon. He says it's canon.
Yeah.
Who determines canon over it?
I'm pretty sure it's just James Gunn.
Studios. Really? He's
in charge of everything. He proved his worth. He's in charge of everything.
Jeez.
He is instituting the Stalinization of DC Studios.
Oh my gosh.
Just passes you the paper.
You're not wrong.
Do you like me?
Do you think
yes,
he uses intimidation?
No. I think it's brutal. I think he has his own Stasi and everything.
Okay. I like that idea.
In all honesty,
and those HR meetings.
What it is as a director, you're human like everybody else. You only have so many relationships as a person. If you like somebody, if you work really well with them professionally, you're gonna use them. You're gonna try to cast them in something.
Sure. What's your example?
Well, for James Gunn specifically, or for other people doing it?
I guess in general.
Well, if you build houses and you really like a couple of contractors, you're probably going to contract through those specific. Find a guy who's really good at tile,
or even if it's your brother.
Yeah, and it's like, well, is that nepotism? In getting the opportunity, yeah, but if they're talented, if they're actually good at what they're doing, if you build houses and your brother's phenomenal at laying tile, and you give all the tiling jobs to your brother's company, it's like, is it nepotism? An opportunity? Yes. Does the tile look good? Yes. So,
and
you got to consider that.
It's theoretically less pronounced with studios because the studios can obviously make a decision like Harley Quinn.
Right.
Where just because James Gunn wanted something doesn't mean that that's what he got.
Yeah.
And so as a contractor or as a construction manager, there's nobody above you. Or if you own your own business, you're not. Yeah. There's no one saying you can or can't hire this contractor over and over and over and over again.
And people, they often complain like, "Oh, James Gunn, he casts all the same actors in all his projects." They do a good job. I've yet to see a character in a James Gunn film. I was like, they were miscast. I think another actor would have done that better. They always fit the role, and that's what's important. Yes, he likes to use a handful of actors. I don't care. Because they do a good job.
I mean, so does Christopher Nolan. And no one's talking about that.
Yeah, Christopher Nolan uses the same 8 guys.
Yeah.
And nobody cares because they do a good job.
They're good films.
Like Chris Pratt, he is good in the roles that James Gunn puts him in. James Gunn's not making him the voice of Mario or Garfield. And 100 other people could have done a better Garfield or Mario.
Yeah.
So there are more egregious examples of, I think, clout chasing or nepotism. James Gunn, he likes who he likes, but they always do a good job. And that's what's most important to me.
And Stalin.
I think Stalin's a worse example of picking people for their abilities alone.
I didn't know. I'm saying that's all that mattered to him. Whether or not he did it effectively
I think a couple things mattered a bit more to Stalin than how you did your job. I think how much you liked Stalin was probably...
True. That's how I survived the purge.
Okay. Speaking of purging your subordinates, you know who had great subordinates? Lex Luthor. And that's something I really appreciate about this film. This movie has so many characters, but they're all distinct.
Well, and they seem competent for the most part.
They're so competent.
Yeah.
These guys, Lex Luthor, he's running around. And that's another James Gunn thing. He loves the emphasis on fatherhood, the found families, the music. He had to have had this personal experience where he worked in an office and got shouted at all the time because every other villain in his films is a guy running around in an office screaming at people, right? It's Amanda Waller. It's the guy in Guardians 3. It's Lex Luthor. Half of his rogues just run around and shout at people. You know, it's even the golden alien race in Guardians 2.
Yeah.
They're either somebody's dad who works alone or they run an office full of underlings. Those are the two James Gunn villains, essentially. Which is, I'm dying to know what his experience was.
Oh, for sure. And
what caused that?
And at which studio?
Right. It's deeply affected him, apparently.
Yeah. It left an impact.
But Lex Luthor, I mean, his employees, they're distinct.
Yeah.
They're unique. They all have their own vibes, their own personalities, their own aesthetics. Same at the Daily Planet. Every reporter there, every employee that's really emphasized, they all feel like their own people. And they don't get a lot of screen time. They don't need it. But they're all unique individuals. You know, they're not generic employees. I feel like, oh, that's a person. And you get the sense that Lex or Superman, they have these relationships with them where it's like, oh yeah, there's somebody in the office. I know a little bit about them and their personality. It goes a long way to making the world feel lived in. And it's really, really nice to see those personal touches in some of the side characters who in other projects might be kind of glossed over.
Yeah, and it goes to showing you that you're being interjected into a world that's already rolling.
Yeah.
And
which the movie does so well.
Yes, yeah.
It does the new universe thing phenomenally. I buy in immediately. You know, once the film gets going, once we're past the exposition, I'm like, this is a world that people have lived in. This is a world I'd like to see more of. You know, and it does that so well.
Yeah, I agree. Sorry, I'm looking up something real quick.
Yeah.
I will tell you, I hate Kryptonite.
You hate Kryptonite
for
that's fair.
Forever. I have hated it forever.
Okay.
And that's one of the reasons why I never was able to get into Superman that much.
Okay.
Because his only weakness was Kryptonite.
Is it just that it's the only thing, or is it that it's like a silver bullet?
Nothing can stop him.
Okay.
Except for that. And it's just a stone. That's not interesting. Yeah. James Gunn was somehow able to make it interesting, but it was only because of crypto. That's the only reason why he stayed. That's the only reason why he didn't go off fly off the handle.
Okay.
Is that he had to go find crypto. And he went to go find crypto. That was another Achilles heel that he had. That he couldn't do anything.
And the crypto thing's interesting because at the end of the film we see that it's Supergirl's dog.
Yes.
And so it's not oh, that's my dog. It's
my cousin's dog.
It's my cousin's dog. So it's a family thing to him.
Yeah.
And we kind of we realize at the end that he's been pursuing this family dynamic. You know, it's like, I made a promise to a family member. Got to keep it. It's a good dynamic.
Well, it's who he is. Like, it kind of shows, oh, he's just a good guy.
Yeah.
It's his cousin's dog. It's not even his dog, and he's, risking everything, including the fate of the whole universe to save this dog.
And everyone's had that experience, right? Like you're watching a family pet or something. You're like, I don't like this animal, but
it makes him relatable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all these little touches. I get what you're saying about the Kryptonite. It makes it tough because either Superman wins a fight because Kryptonite wasn't there, or he loses a fight because Kryptonite was there. And it dominates every scene that it's in.
Yeah. Well,
it's tough to have in play in a story.
There was multiple things that James Gunn tried to do to put obstacles in front of Superman that wasn't Kryptonite.
Yeah.
Because you had, right off the bat, you had Ultraman.
Yes.
And then you had Kryptonite eventually. But then you have public opinion. That was the other thing. And Lois kind of plays a little bit of a foil role in their relationship. Like, what do you mean that you don't think that we're going to be able to last as a couple or whatever? Like, that is kind of messing with him mentally, too.
Lois is she's a realist. She really keeps him grounded. And he's this idealist. And it's central to their dynamic. Yeah. It's very fun.
I think Lois and Clark work very, very well.
It's so well written.
In this iteration.
Yeah.
I just don't know why Superman cares so much about public opinion. For one, it's part of his character.
Yeah.
I don't think he has to. And two, I think that public opinion turning on him so quickly is hyper unrealistic.
Really?
Hyper unrealistic.
Really?
Yes.
No.
Oh, 1,000%.
People being fickle on social media?
But everybody on Earth?
Okay.
That's my problem.
Okay.
I'm saying
if it's
a divide
everyone...
a divide is, that's how they treat it. They treat it that
Yeah,
Lex's
okay.
Lex's wife or girlfriend is streaming this one interaction that he's having with Lex, and you're telling me nobody is kind of like, maybe the billionaire who sends weapons to the Pentagon, maybe he's not the good guy in this situation right off the bat. Maybe Superman's mad.
People are saying that on Twitter, but nobody's listening to that guy.
Well, I'm just saying, like,
that's like real life. Nobody cares when that guy says that.
Like, why?
Like, oh yeah, the Pentagon did something that might be ethically dubious. It was like, yeah, some guy on Twitter said it. What do you want me to do with my day?
He sells weapons to the Pentagon. Period. Full stop. Full stop.
He runs a company.
I know, but I'm saying, like, you don't think that anybody...
I do, but I think in the real world, the people who say that kind of stuff on Twitter are ostracized, like in the real world, because they're seen as unsociable weirdos who are sticks in the mud. And it's like, just let the guy sell weapons in peace. He's a private individual. He's just making money. That is the median voter mindset. Not to get political, but most people don't care when a billionaire does something that's awful. Right,
but whenever you have somebody who is as pure as Superman, somebody who has been fighting for, 3 years at this point?
Yeah.
3 years.
That's a long time.
He hasn't lost, and now he starts losing.
Yeah.
But he's still, they see him on video day in and day out, saving children, saving animals, saving entire cities.
Well, but he's doing it for his secret harem. He's trying to take over the world.
Bro, but how? Okay. Today, if we're talking about today, this is 2025. At the time of the recording, it's a movie made in 2025. I would assume it's the same year. Mm-hmm. Probably. Around the same amount of time. You don't think anybody is questioning the authenticity of that video in universe?
Yeah. But they had all the linguists look at it and confirm.
But I mean, look.
Lex probably paid him off, but a bunch of independent contractors in the film, Mr. Terrific even says, he's like, that's probably legit.
How many people do you know that think, at least to some degree, with some sort of skepticism, that the moon landing was faked? And if it was happening right then, they were living through the moon landing, and not only that, whether or not they landed on the moon has an immediate impact on their quality of life. You don't think they're not gonna be skeptical about that?
I think if you live in the Superman universe and you don't think America went to the moon, you're an idiot.
I mean, okay, sure.
In that universe, I think you're stupid.
Sure,
if you're looking outside and you see Hawk Girl, you see Green Lantern and Super, and you're like, you know what? I don't think we went to the moon.
Okay, so
I think in Superman's universe, you're an idiot.
So then we have to figure. So then
I'm not going to comment on the real world.
Then we have to try to figure out.
That's up to you.
No, well, we have to try to figure out, where does the crossover start and end from our universe?
300 years ago.
To the Superman
300 years ago, when metahumans first appeared.
Well, I know in Eternals, for instance, and the MCU treats it as their stasis. They're undercover for most of history. How do they do it in the DC universe?
I mean, we only have the one project to go off of.
For this,
we're told it's 300 years, which I can only assume means that the first real metahuman
I'm trying to figure
arrived during the American Revolutionary War, right beforehand.
George Washington.
That's what I'm saying. I think
it's George Washington.
So that'd be a phenomenal reveal.
And also,
the timeline lines up. It'd be before then. You're telling me metahumans could be in the American Civil War, the American Revolutionary War. They could be in
the Napoleonic
French Indian War, the Napoleonic Wars, the Opium Wars.
Both World Wars.
Yeah. I mean, we've seen other things do that. Like X-Men does it, where they've been around for forever. In Superman, though, 300 years? It's 50 years before the U.S. got created formally as an independent nation. There were metahumans in colonial America.
Sure, but
for all we know.
But we have to look at what we have in the movie. We have the Pentagon in the movie.
Yes.
So that means that some form of the U.S. government, as we know it today, it's always been like, what would our government do?
Yeah.
In 20 years, like in Iron Man and the Avengers case, from Iron Man to Endgame. Having lived through 18 years of superheroes, what would our government do? In this case, it's been 3 years of knowing for sure, at least publicly,
sure that there's Superman.
For publicly facing that there has been metahumans as a thing. Now, the Pentagon is probably known for decades that there were metahumans. The government's known for years. But as far as skepticism goes in universe, the public being aware of metahumans, as of right now, all we know is 3 years. So, do you have things like the Red Scare? Do you have things like the assassination of JFK? Like, do you have things that are like
that's a fair point?
People like, are people just not skeptical at all?
They probably are.
Like,
and I think,
but to your point, having lived through COVID, that was less than 3 years. The time warp that was. You lived in an entirely different world for like a year and a half. And then now that we look at it retroactively, it's like, it was entirely different. I was living a different life. So is it a similar thing where they had life pre-Superman and post-Superman? And now that they just have to believe everything at face value because there's a man who flies around and shoots lasers out of his eyes. So, and it doesn't lose until he has another person who's exactly like him.
There's another element to this that we should consider, which is Superman's arrested. He's taken into the pocket dimension.
Yep.
He's taken on the river Styx, essentially. You know, you got the creepy oarsman, Mr. Smile or whatever he's listed as in the credits.
Yes.
I don't know if he wouldn't be in the credits. He doesn't have a speaking line. Maybe somebody played him. Maybe he has like a prosthetic or a motion capture suit. But one of the things they pass is the infinite monkeys typing away angry comments towards Superman on social media. So there's this sense of the public outrage. It's funded by the big corporations.
Yeah.
And malicious foreign state actors. You know, it's the Baravian money that's being funneled into these online bot farms that are dividing people.
I'm just taking a drink of water. That's all I'm doing.
Spreading misinformation. Make of that what you will. But there's this sense of the average person's opinions are formed by what they see online. And what is online is overwhelmingly controlled by the hyper-rich. So LexCorp, the country of Baravia, and their propaganda departments. So there is this element where I think he's kind of controlled for some of that. I'm sure there are skeptics in universe, and it would have been nice to see, you know. And
the uniformity is what kind of got me.
Okay, to go back to what I was saying earlier, of like, it would have been nice to see him as a reporter. Wouldn't it have been so cool to see him going around for like a minute montage, interviewing different people, trying to find positive voices for Superman? And he starts off with like people on the street, and then as it goes on, he's just progressively and getting to like weirder and weirder fringe people. And so he finally finds somebody, and they're like, "Oh, I think Superman's completely innocent." And he's like real happy about it for a second, and then the guy keeps talking, and he's like, "And I think that LexCorp killed JFK, and that we didn't land on the moon."
Or Superman.
And he's like, "Oh, these are the only people that think I'm innocent." Yeah. Like something like that, where we get more scenes of him as a reporter.
Or it's like he even interviews some of the victims that Superman saved.
Yeah.
And even then
about Superman, and they're like, "I think he's evil."
But he saved you from that falling building. It's like, yeah, but he just wants me in my harem, and his harem, like...
Right. Yeah, oh, I was really appreciative, but what if he caused the thing that he saved me from, and it was a trick?
Yeah.
Like, something like that. Again,
if we do live in a world...
Do a minute montage, minute and a half, set it to music, bunch of quick cuts, bunch of one-off statements, him trying to find people who are positive towards Superman, ending up only with a couple of fringe, crazy conspiracy theorists who think nothing that actually happened is true. That scene would have gone so far. Him as a reporter, his character desperate to prove himself. I think one of the things that I'm realizing more and more as I talk through it, it's a phenomenal Superman movie. There is no Clark Kent in this movie. Clark Kent exists when he's at his parents' house and when he's in Lois's apartment. And that's a kind of commentary itself, because Superman's who he really is. You know, he's Superman in the world. But at the same time, he has a day job. And he is Clark Kent in other circumstances. And it would have been really interesting to see him in kind of those circumstances. I think we see that with like Robert Pattinson's Batman as well. There's no Bruce Wayne in that movie. There's none. He shows up to the memorial service, I think it is, and everyone's like, "Oh, it's Bruce Wayne, the elusive billionaire who no one ever sees." That's Clark Kent in this movie, except he works a day job, and it's a very forward-facing, out in the community day job, and they just don't do anything with that. It's like, oh, but it would have been so interesting to see, because there's a lot of good stuff here. And like you're saying, there's parts of the film where it's uniform condemnation of Superman. It's like, well, yeah, and you have the monkeys and you have the propaganda, but it would have been nice, I think, to your point, to see some pushback to that.
Yeah.
And I think him as reporter would have been the right avenue to take.
Well, yeah, and James Gunn said that Clark Kent's like 25 years old in this movie. According to Wikipedia. So
I'm not. And he can say that.
If he's
wrong.
If he, in this movie,
he can say that,
which means he's older than Smallville Superman, but he's younger than Henry Cavill, Man of Steel, Superman. And so if he doesn't have that big of a public-facing role as Clark Kent, the journalist, like world-famous journalist, it does make the other side of Superman that's not very believable, of the glasses make everything.
Okay, well, two things to that. First, there's no way he's 25, because that means he got to start as Superman at 22. And no reasonable government or person is thrilled with 22-year-old Superman.
That's why Spider-Man got started when he was 45 years old. Like, what do you mean?
Spider-Man, he wears a mask. And that's the thing. The hero.
You're telling me the Pentagon doesn't know? You're telling me the Pentagon does not know?
Does not care about Spider-Man.
Okay,
they don't care. Nobody cares about Spider-Man.
They know what I order on Amazon. No one cares about me. No one cares.
Okay.
But they don't know who Superman is?
Well, no.
They don't know who Spider-Man is?
He has the hypno glasses, which is what Guy Gardner says. And Spider-Man oftentimes...
You're not making me like Superman very much. I'm just letting you know.
Exists in the wider world with more heroes and international concerns. In universe, often Spider-Man is a guy. And he patrols like New York suburbs or the inner city and swings around where there's buildings.
Yeah, no, this is 32.
That makes sense. Well, because then
where did he say that?
You have this
was in 2023 whenever James Gunn said that.
The Jesus comparisons.
Yes,
because
he's the same age.
Work at 30.
Yes.
And then there's the threes, 300 years, 3 years, 3 months, 3 days, 3 hours, 3 minutes. And he can be 30, or 33, even better. Or you have the Moses comparisons as well. And I get that that's the Jesus comparison is more something Zack Snyder emphasizes. Originally, he's supposed to be like a Moses archetype. He has this little basket that he shipped off in the river to this other country, essentially, or other community.
And
now he has this liberatory role in this community that he's in. So he's meant to be Jewish in a sense, meant to be an immigrant in a sense. And so there's these ideas of, he's like Moses. And Moses, for him, he gets to start at like 80 when he's doing stuff. So I think having him be a bit older makes sense. Whether it's 30, obviously you're not going with 80 for Superman. But the 30, I think, makes sense. That's reasonable to me.
And the opening text would say that. It says 3 decades and then 3 years.
Okay.
That's 33 years old. So
33. That makes sense.
I don't know where James Gunn was getting 25 2 years ago, but that was 2 years ago. The movie hadn't been made yet.
So. I would also say, if he's that young, he's getting interviews with Superman. That helps his career. Like, that shoots him up.
Unless he says, oh, well, I don't have time for other projects. And he's just a recluse because he's always doing work with Superman.
That'd be so pathetic, man.
But, it helps as his cover.
This is Clark Kent. He only writes stories about Superman.
And he just so happens to also be Superman.
What's your day job? Is it interviewing people in the community, or is it sitting at your desk writing, fan fiction about yourself? Superman, he told me that truth is good and justice is awesome, and Jaranpur should be independent and Bravia should not go to war with it. It's like, you're just journaling.
Yeah.
As like your day job at that point. He needs to be reporter. He needs to get out in the community. He is Clark Kent at some parts of the day.
Yeah, but he doesn't want to be. He doesn't want to be seen by the people in Metropolis. He doesn't want to be seen by the people of Earth who see him the most often.
That's an interesting dynamic. It works for Batman, but I still wish that we had more Bruce Wayne in Robert Pattinson's Batman movie.
Sure.
I wish we had more Clark Kent in this movie. I get that he
We do get some. We
get some.
Only okay. Well,
but even then,
both
it's
Superman
the lowest
and
scene.
Lois.
It's the lowest scene.
Or he's
and
both.
Lois is the interviewer.
Yes.
Lois is the realist, and he's being interviewed. So it's not him as journalist. It's him as Superman giving an interview. And so he's still in the Superman mode. Take off the Superman hat. You have to be a regular person sometimes. There's no way that he's pulling off the journalist thing with what we see in the movie. Well, and then
I don't know. I feel like
I'm nitpicking at this point. I get that. He goes to the interdimensional portal. And what day of the week is that on? I wish that I knew. I wish that the day title cards were in all of them. Because is he in the prison from like Thursday to Friday? Does he just not show up to work one day? Like, what's the deal?
Do they acknowledge it in the film?
They
could say
kind
something
of
like he's sick.
Oh, his boss knows he's Superman.
What would be crazy is if he
it.
was gone and rose on the third day. That would be wild. We would know if we had the day cards.
I don't think he's there that long.
Oh, okay.
That'd be phenomenal.
That would be phenomenal. That would be like but also living 3 days with Kryptonite.
That'd be awful. Let's talk more about that because I really like the pocket dimension.
Okay.
People are saying it looks ugly. It doesn't. It looks good.
Well, what do you want it to look like? Are they saying it's bad CGI?
They're saying it's bad CGI. I don't think it is, and maybe I'm blinded by affection. I like it, and I think it looks good. Does it look hyper realistic, like it's a creepypasta or outside? No. Does it need to? I don't think so.
No, I don't think so.
I think there's some suspension of disbelief. There's a charm to it. It's like a theater set. It's like, oh, nobody could live in that building. They're not supposed to. Like the affection some people have for realism. It looks good. It's a fun scene. It's like the river Styx. So it's like this Greek mythology image of him going into this river and coming out. He's fighting these like raptor goons on their jetpacks with a baby in his hand. So just the pitch for the fight is incredible because it's, what if Superman had to fight all these guys and he's like underwater and in magma and he has an arm tied behind his back.
But not only an arm tied behind his back, half of his mind is trying to figure out how does he save this baby.
Right, yeah, and his dog is there and his dog is making everything worse and there's just an octopus guy who he also has to keep track of. It's so fun. Yeah. It is so much fun.
That's why I think Mr. Terrific was an interesting choice because you were able to have a lot more fun with him in that scene too.
Yeah.
He's not a character that's fleshed out very much. He's in the Arrow TV show. That's what I know him from.
Okay.
And it was just it was an interesting choice. It wasn't Green Lantern.
Right.
Which would be the obvious choice. It's like they picked Hawk Girl, Green Lantern, and then Mr. Terrific.
They're doing a Lantern show. So it's in the pipeline. Guy Gardner, he'll get his
as far as the plot
time
for
in the sun.
As far as the plot for the movie, it's an interesting cast of characters.
It is
to pair with Superman.
It is,
and I think it worked. I think it worked really well.
Yeah,
and it was because people weren't fatigued by the same characters over and over and over again. It's like, oh, Mr. Terrific, he throws spheres.
Yeah,
what does that mean? And then he does it. You're like, oh, okay, that's what that means.
I really liked how all these different characters they fight differently. Because one of the things you see in some of these films, it's like they'll just give everyone a gun. It's like, well, everyone shoots stuff. That's lame. That's boring. Superman, super versatile. He flies. He shoots lasers. He has the freezing breath. He's super strong. There's so many different things there. Hawk Girl, she flies with wings. She has the mace, the screaming. Mr. Terrific, he's always in this chair, sending out machines. Guy Gardner, he's just having a blast. He's making oven mitts. And gigantic baseball bats.
Like the Chad that he is.
He's giving middle fingers to military vehicles.
Right.
It is so much fun. Well, and then you have stuff like the what is it? The architect? That's not her name. Shirley. The the lady, the robot one, the architect. Maybe it is the architect.
That sounds familiar.
I'm not gonna lie, the architect was not a high point of the film for me because I don't remember her name and she never did anything interesting.
I think that's just misogyny. Personally,
I think being a feminist does not mandate I like every female character in everything. I think I'm allowed to have a couple of critiques. There's the stupid scene, and I'm nitpicking again. I had so much fun with this movie. This is a phenomenal film. The scene where they're in the Fortress of Solitude, and she realizes there's a robot behind her, and she can just turn around, but instead she does like the backflip handstand, and her whole body transforms, and her hands turn into her feet, and then her feet turn into her hands, and her head regrows.
Nope.
It's like, why did you do that?
That's
just turn around like a normal person.
That's so stupid.
It's extra. It's nonsense. It's not my favorite. Not my favorite part of the film.
Mine either.
She was a minor part of the film. Now I will say, if we're talking about female villains, one of the female characters that stood out to me was Lex Luthor's girlfriend. People came away from this film saying like, oh, Jimmy Olsen, he was so cruel to her for no reason. And she never did anything wrong. Jimmy was a real jerk to her. And it's like, well, she was on board for invading a country and doing a genocide. And she decided it would be bad when it started to negatively affect her life. That's not nothing. Like, Jimmy disliked her for no reason. Maybe the fact that she was willing to date the most evil person in the universe who does nothing but throw temper tantrums and try to invade foreign countries.
Well, and then not only
is a red flag. That's a viable red flag.
Yes.
Jimmy Olsen is not a bad person for having issues with the warmongering lady who wants to invade a country so that she can rule it with her boyfriend. And she's like, oh, well, he throws his ex-girlfriends into the phantom dimension. It's like I'm not trying to victim blame here. How many meetings did you sit in where Lex Luthor was like, yeah, I want to kill that guy? Or yeah, I just shot this guy.
She was on her phone the whole time.
Taking photos, as we see later.
Selfies.
With the incriminating information in them.
Was that on purpose or was that
an accident? Well, we get the sense that it's on purpose. And I get that people treat it like it's really mean-spirited. They're like, Jimmy Olsen, he was so mean to this woman for no reason. It was a mean thing to do in this movie about hope and optimism. It's like, she was on board with invading a country.
Well, and then not only that, she actively assists in his plan whenever she starts live streaming Superman and Lex Luthor's interaction in the office.
Yeah, like she's on board.
Yeah.
Like, at what point are you culpable? I think it's, he's killed multiple people and you're still helping him. I think at that point, legally, you're guilty.
She's taking selfies.
You're an accomplice.
She doesn't have.
And Jimmy Olsen, he's mean to her. He's not. He thinks that she is off-putting. I think people who want to invade other countries are also off-putting. That is a red flag.
That's crazy.
That's a red flag. I am in favor of mass murder so that we can build our own country and take all their oil. That usually when people say that on a first date,
someone clip that.
Usually that's done. That's usually donezo. Usually you just stand up and you leave. At that point, if your date starts talking about their plans to kill food vendors for no reason, to throw a gigantic hissy fit because other people like a guy, to blackmail the Pentagon into giving you unlimited money, and you're like, well, I think those are red flags. I think you're not a good person. Maybe that's controversial. I think Jimmy Olsen is in the right there. And I think that you are an accomplice. At that point in the process, I think you're an accomplice. I think it's on you.
So you're saying Benito Mussolini's wife got what she deserved?
I'm saying
We can move on if you want.
Benito Mussolini's wife cannot stand up and be like, right after they lynched my husband, I was just thinking, how nice it would be to get back with my ex? And my ex didn't want to take me back. Can you believe that?
I don't think she ever got the opportunity to think that.
No, because she died. Well, but you see my point there. It's like, how long can you stand right next to an evil person doing obviously evil things and expect to be perfectly innocent? If you're on Twitter, apparently the answer is forever.
Okay.
And I get it because she's one of the few female characters in the film, but there are others. There's Hawkgirl, there's Lois Lane, there's the reporters at the Daily Planet, there's Martha Kent. Like, there's all these other characters, and so it's not a weird thing where James Gunn hates women. There's the architect or whatever her name is. No, I just think
you hate women. This is back to back.
I hate women who are super passionate about invading other countries and killing all their people and taking all their stuff.
And coincidentally, he also hates men who do that.
Right.
He hasn't said that.
And so that's...
I'm just...
I appreciate you drawing that distinction.
I just wanted to make sure. Because
I also hate
would.
Men who want to invade other countries and murder all their people and steal all their oil.
Yeah.
I'd like to draw this distinction. It's less about gender for me.
Now that you think about it?
Okay. No, I'm mentioning this specifically because when I see people discussing this character on Twitter, they're like, it was a mean thing to do. He was mean to this woman who did nothing wrong. And it's like, well, she did. She sat in the murder councils and liked sitting in those fancy rooms and making boatloads of money and having nice things. That makes you guilty. You're an accomplice. And Lex Luthor, his girlfriend, and everybody in that office, they're all accomplices. They're all bad people. And it's like, oh, the two guys who dropped the kaiju into the river, it'd be nice to grab a beer with them. And it's like, no, they tried to kill a lot of people. That's not...
It was just a distraction.
This is what I'm up against all the time.
What do you mean?
I think LexCorp was good, actually. I liked him. I think that Baravia had a right to defend itself.
I'm just trying to defend women. People. Sorry. You know what? Not sorry. I'm not going to apologize for it. I'm an ally.
I'm an ally, which means that women can basically do whatever they want all the time, and it's good.
Isn't that what feminism is? Am I just not understanding?
There is a distinction. The distinction is doing a genocide is bad.
Yeah.
And regardless of who you are, you should take responsibility for your actions and your political stances. And if your political stance is we should conquer other countries and kill everyone, you are a bad person. And you got to take responsibility for that stance. And Jimmy Olsen, as a reporter, I think is sensitive to that in a way that most actual reporters are not.
Well, and to be clear, you're saying that the consequences for that in this setting is being labeled a bad person. Those are the only Those are the only consequences you're asking for.
I'm not even saying like send her to the Hague.
No,
put her back in the demon dimension.
I'm like,
you know what?
On Reddit, I was called a bad person.
Should be a little harsher on this character. Jimmy Olsen wasn't that bad of a guy because he wasn't into that. Jimmy Olsen, he's
a reporter.
He's a reporter,
and they do stuff like this.
He's not a bad person.
I mean, just think about
Stop apologizing for all of Lex Luthor's extended accomplices. Ultraman, probably fine because we get the sense that he's a puppet without anything going on in his brain. Literally everybody else on Lex Luthor's team is a bad person. We're not obligated to like them. They're fun. They're creative. They're distinct, and I appreciate that. They are also not good people. And some of these characters wanted to do really heinous things to really vulnerable people. Jimmy Olsen didn't want to do heinous things to innocent people. Jimmy Olsen wanted to go home and not be bothered and to save people's lives and then go back and not be harassed by these evil, horrific human beings who, unfortunately, walk the planet and talk all the time about how much they hate vulnerable brown people. Jimmy Olsen finds that distasteful, and so do I. And I think not Superman's girlfriend, sorry, I'm all over the place. I think Lex Luthor's girlfriend should go back into the Shadow Realm and stay there forever.
Wow.
That's I will die on that hill.
I think it somehow made Lex Luthor less evil whenever he didn't just kill his girlfriend. Because that's what you think is going to happen. No, that she's just going to die.
He puts her in the devil dimension forever.
Yeah, but
we do get a very specific scene where we see his ex-girlfriend like get freed from the devil dimension or whatever it is. She like runs over to her parents who are there outside for some reason. Yeah, what's up with that? Actually, I just thought about that.
You know what? I hate this movie.
Why are they there? This is a fun film. It's a really fun film.
But I think it's hyper unrealistic. Actually, I don't think Lex Luthor is that evil because
dying to hear this. We haven't even gotten to the part of the film where he tries to destroy the world.
He locks people in the pocket dimension, but there's no bathroom facilities in any of the rooms, and yet you haven't seen any indication that they have not been able to use the bathroom, or because you would know if they haven't been able to go to the restroom, or they haven't been there that long.
What's the takeaway here?
It's not that bad. What do you mean? What is the takeaway?
Arbitrary solitary confinement's fine if it's brief.
If it's humane for solitary confinement for doing nothing wrong.
I really like the scene where Metamorpho, he makes the light.
Yeah.
And Superman's getting his powers back, and all the other prisoners start snitching on him. And they're like, guards, he's trying to escape, he's breaking the rules. It's like that's the kind of bullcrap people do in real life. You know, they just have this crab bucket mentality of dragging everybody down to their level. It's like, oh, guard, he's trying to escape. He's trying to get out of his prison cell where he'll rot forever. Please come hurt him and move me up in the social pyramid. It's like, you know what? Put those two back in the dark dimension too. I don't make that the post-credits scene of the film. Put those guys back. Them and all X-Corp, all the employees. Put them all back.
Does the pocket dimension still exist at the end of the movie?
I think so. They still have all the other portals. It's just the one that got all destroyed and
so now the Pentagon
rusty.
has it.
Presumably. I say put them back.
Put them back.
Put them back.
Put them back.
Send them there. I don't care.
We support military prisons.
Nope. That's
not
the takeaway.
Devin supports military.
It's not the takeaway.
What do you mean? Who else is putting them there?
War criminals and corporate cronies should be prosecuted and should not get a free pass because film Twitter thinks being a little mean to them is unreasonable. Prosecute them, send them to The Hague, put them into jails forever. None of this apology stuff. No apologies. Serve justice. Put him in the dark dimension.
Well,
throw him in the river Styx.
Put
him in a box and put the box in the river Styx.
I know. I think you believe that. That's good.
I think.
This leads into something.
You go ahead.
This leads into something that I think we should talk about whenever you have something called the Justice Gang. What is justice?
Okay,
what is Superman's version of justice, which we know he doesn't kill people.
Yes.
And how is he comfortable with the other people who do kill people?
Yeah.
On the Justice Gang. Hawkgirl definitely kills the president of Bavaria.
Yeah, Gorgo, right? Gurgos is his name. Hawkgirl kills him.
Just drops him out of the sky.
Which is wonderful.
Doesn't she try to say that the ground kills him?
Yeah.
She says something.
She's like, oh, it's the fall. Or no, she says something like, I'm not Superman or whatever.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So, yeah, it's that.
You know what? Hawkgirl would have put those guys back in the shadow dimension.
Mm-hmm.
I support Hawkgirl dropping people onto the steps of The Hague.
But from 200 feet up.
That was implied. That was implied.
I just wanted to... Just want to make sure.
Well, but you bring up a good point, because there's multiple characters. They have different ideas of justice. Superman, he seems to have a no-kill rule. He seems to.
And they play on that tension. It's not like they ignore it.
Yeah.
Like they do with the kaiju. Like they do play on it. Like, man, we could have
saved
tried
it.
to save it.
Well,
learn
and
from it.
He maybe kills Ultraman at the end of the film. Maybe. I mean, he drops him in a black hole.
It's a clone, though. I don't think he considers him a human life.
We don't need. We can circle back to that. We can circle back to that one. That's a good point. But like Guy Gardner, he's taken these vows. You know, I took Green Lantern vows.
What are the Green Lantern vows?
I only know the poem. The little poem when they power up the ring.
The brightest day.
Apparently, the vows don't mandate him saving Superman or preventing wars between other countries, because Green Lantern's intervention into Jandrampur, it is framed as an aberration in his usual MO. So Superman inspires him and the others to do good, which I think is really interesting, because it's not Superman who saves them. It's Superman as an icon.
Yeah.
Motivates other people to do good and to stop violence where they're at, to take up the cause of the less fortunate, the less defended. And I think that that's really interesting, but it's like, what is Green Lantern's deal? Because what is he doing? He fights a kaiju and a big light monster, but apparently he has no impetus or no motivation to do some good in the world by like going after LexCorp or stopping wars. Apparently that's out of his usual responsibilities.
Well, it's not just out of his responsibilities, it's out of the Justice Gang's purview, because they're purposefully forming this group to serve justice.
And it's interesting because they go out of their way to say that the Justice Gang is funded by a corporation. I say that multiple times.
Yeah.
It's a weird touch because it's a very anti-corporate movie. You have LexCorp, you have all these big corporations, and they're throwing money around, trying to manipulate the Pentagon, trying to start wars, treating people like garbage.
Do you think it's Bruce Wayne's corporation?
I'm sure it's tied to some...
Or like Oliver Queen?
I'm sure it's tied to some kind of DC character, some kind of secret identity. I don't personally know who it is. I just think that going out of their way to be like, well, it's not all corporations. It's just bad ones. There are good ones, and they fund justice. But not the kind of justice that stops foreign wars, because when they do that, they're going against their imperatives of their funders. It's like, that's a weird concept of justice.
And he realizes that that's a weird concept.
That's a weird one.
He helps him at the end.
He does. But when Mr. Terrific helps, we get the sense of, well, he's not supposed to be doing this. When Green Lantern helps in Jandrampur, we get the sense he's not supposed to be helping.
Well, he just says he's doing it to make Green Lantern angry.
Yeah.
So,
and
which is a weird motivation too.
Hawk Girl, I mean, we get the sense that Hawk Girl, she is just gonna kill people. And she doesn't care who she's funded by. She seems a bit lazy.
She may be a project.
She doesn't want to go help Mr. Terrific in the midpoint of the film, which is lame. That is lame. Lose points for that. You gain points for killing Gurgos. That gets you points, I think. I don't know.
Yeah.
Superman, his idea of justice is interesting. He'll send people to
clear
prison
cut
infinitely.
Yeah.
Which, there are advantages too, I guess, if you're Superman.
Public opinion, perception for one.
Yes, it's the big one. I think so. Let's talk about Ultraman.
Okay.
Because we don't much care for the robot lady. What's your take on Ultraman? How do you feel about him?
I mean, I don't think he serves as anything besides whenever I first watched the movie, he didn't seem anything more than a plot device.
Yeah.
As a means to an end. It's like, it's the only way that Lex Luthor has any sort of chance of beating him without Kryptonite.
Yeah.
And so he was trying multiple things. It was multiple facets of trying to get him taken down, with public perception, then Kryptonite, and then Ultraman. They were all plot devices and plot threads, and then It was just another obstacle Superman had to get past. So I don't know. I didn't immediately derive deeper meaning out of it whenever I first watched it.
I think there's an interesting parallel because we do have a Superman who's very interested in public opinion. And so he's kind of taking his cues from this, the public. What are people saying online? What are people saying in the news? Superman's very aware of that.
He's like a politician in some ways.
And I think that's interesting. I like that because then we have Ultraman, who's that to the extreme. He only does what other people tell him to do. And, as we later find out, he is a clone of Superman. And so I think we see kind of this foil for Superman. I mean, obviously, the Superman clone who he fights and is evil is a foil to him. But I think not just in physical strength or, oh, that guy is my face. For him, I think it's also, this is a me who listens exclusively to what other people tell him to do. This is a me who's hyper-fixated on public opinion, in a sense. You know, what are the people in the boardroom saying? I think is a very, very concise analogy or statement of what Ultraman stands for. What are they saying in the special rooms? What are they saying in the boardrooms? What are the rich and powerful saying? I'm going to do that. I'm going to carry it out to the letter. And you have Superman, who I think really he stands for these ideals. You know, and so part of his arc, I think, is shedding his concern with the public. He works for the public, he serves the public, but he can't be this guy who dances to their every whim. You know, he stands for ideals. And I think we see him grow into that throughout the film. I think moving forward, we'll have a Superman who cares a lot less about public opinion.
Well, and not only that, his parents factor into it too.
Yeah.
Because he has to stop caring about what his parents would have wanted to. So by the end of the film, he's looking in the face of a man who is him if he had taken it to the extreme. Only doing what other people tell him to do and not thinking for himself. And yeah, like you're saying, he's not going to care about what the public says, what his parents wanted him to do, didn't want him to do.
Yeah.
And he's just going to, probably do whatever he feels is best.
And I think that Ultraman and Lex, they have kind of this father-son dynamic because Lex is the one who made him. And so, like you were saying, you know, we see a Superman who grows out of needing his parents' approval. And then we have this Ultraman who obsessively listens to his father. I think it's a very compelling dynamic. I also think, this is less thematic, but I think it's a fun way to do Bizarro. Because he is Bizarro. You know, he's Superman but inverted.
Yeah.
It's a clever twist. You know, you put him in the suit, you telegraph it a bunch. I wouldn't be surprised if we see him come back, Ultraman, but he's paler, maybe has a suit, and he's more clearly Bizarro. I think he can do that. And that's always interesting. It's always fun to see those Bizarro stories where he's dealing with somebody who's really strong but not very intelligent. I think that could be a fun challenge for Superman moving forward to bring him back, except he's talking now, but he's not very smart. And so you kind of have to challenge him on empathy a little bit. He's already an empathetic guy. He saves squirrels. He saves kaijus. But just to see him navigate that, I think would be a fun development for the character. To see him take in almost like a mentorship role, I think is what I'm going for. Where, and not that he has Bizarro as a sidekick or anything, but to have some scenes where he has to consciously talk to a person and be like, you should do this. You should go this way. That would be good for you. Because when he's saving animals or saving people or he's talking to the kaiju, he's not expecting a response. Having a character where Superman has to reason with him and motivate him to do the right thing, to be a good person, I think that would be an interesting challenge for this Superman moving forward. It'd be a good opportunity to bring the character back, I think.
Yeah, I agree. They could definitely bring back Bizarro later on.
You already have the actor signed on.
Yeah, how many films?
I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm not sure. What I will say is they're getting the sequel out fast. 2027 is the current.
That's pretty quick.
Yeah. I'm excited for that. I think this is a world with a lot of potential. It's a Superman with a lot of potential. It's It's a Lex Luthor with a lot of potential, a Lois Lane with a lot of potential. Lois Lane is really good in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
She's a realist. She is just has this incredible chemistry with Superman. The scene where she's interviewing him is one of the best scenes in the film. Just because it's this real brutal clash between realism and idealism. And she is just unrelenting in this movie. I know we said Lex moves the plot forward a lot. Lois really moves the plot forward as well. She is unrelenting in her quest. And I think that was very refreshing to see.
Yeah, I think it's something that Amy Adams started in Man of Steel because she was kind of leaning more in towards that version of Lois Lane. But in this movie, they took it to a whole nother level. Like she's constantly pushing forward. There's hardly a point in the movie where she's just sitting still.
Yeah.
Until the very end, whenever they're kissing or whatever. So yeah, I thought that they did a really good job with her too.
Yeah.
So where does this one? I mean, we did think this was a good movie.
Yeah.
I mean, all this is nitpicking and most of it is. Where do you think this leaves DC going forward, and how is this going to be different than the Snyderverse?
It's a really
which
good
has
question.
a rabid fan base, like a rabid fan base.
Yes.
And the only thing that I've seen them point to is box office revenue, because the Man of Steel box office, and the Superman box office, apparently are drastically different.
I mean, you're going to see a dip with this Superman. I'm not sure what the final numbers ended up being off the top of my head. I think you have to win back audience trust.
Oh, it's only a $70 million difference.
Which
total.
way?
Man of Steel.
Okay.
Only made $70 million more. So it's not crazy. Maybe initial box office weekend.
Yeah.
But
well, that's okay. Man of Steel, that's them coming off the Christopher Nolan Batman movies. So really you're at peak audience trust. I think.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
I think this Superman movie coming after the Snyderverse, the Shazam movies, Black Adam, Suicide Squad, The Flash.
Oh, The Flash.
Yeah.
Is that the last one that they really made?
I think so.
Oh my.
No, because they did Aquaman. They did Aquaman 2. That was the last one, I think.
I didn't even realize they released that.
I
never saw that.
I've never heard anybody talk about that. Fun fact of the day. Aquaman is actually the highest grossing DC movie ever. Because it came out, the original, the first one. It came out towards the peak of the superhero craze.
$1.1 billion.
I know. That's insane. And it's weird that that's the movie that all of these other films are competing against. Right? Like, it's not Justice League, it's not Superman, it's not The Dark Knight.
Yeah, it did over $1 billion, but it's close.
It's Aquaman of all things.
Jeez.
That's the benchmark they're trying to hit, which is madness. I think Superman, to answer your question, it leaves this universe in a really good spot. These are good characters. These are well-written characters. They're engaging. They're entertaining.
I wanted to see more. At the end of the movie, I wanted to see more. I did not feel that way about any of the Snyder movies.
These characters, they're fun. They joke. They feel like they're alive. They're able to handle these complex themes of fatherhood and politics, especially. James Gunn, his politics are very left. There's a scene in the Suicide Squad where just these insurgent guerrillas take over the government, and it's framed as a good thing. Guardians 3 is all about them fighting a corporation, and that scene is a good thing. He always has these ecological messages in his films, with Guardian 2 and some of the Ego the Living Planet stuff that he deals with there, protecting other planets from being subsumed into Ego. And there's just I get the Ego is his name for a while, but just Ego, that sense, there's a psychological sense as well of putting yourself before the environment. His politics have always been very left, and I think that this movie is astonishingly left. The Bravia-Janjanpur conflict, it's framed ambiguously because it can be a stand-in for a lot of things. It can be Russia-Ukraine, it can be Israel-Palestine. I think it leans more towards the latter while taking on the aesthetics of the former.
Yeah.
Personally, that's my reading. That's a subjective reading.
And I know James Gunn for a lot of this stuff said that that's not what his intention was.
Yeah, but
I don't believe him.
He's a guy who's been fired over stuff he's said before.
I don't
Yeah.
I don't think he's a stupid person.
He's going to walk a lot of this back publicly, but I think the art speaks for itself.
I think so too. I mean, I'm a layman watching a movie and I keep up with the news, and it's very easy for me to draw a line.
Yeah.
And there's no way he wasn't thinking about that whenever he picked 2 countries and put them in a certain part of the world.
Yeah.
And framed the Superman conversation about immigration conversation.
Yes.
And corporation conversation.
Yeah.
And you're telling me that he picked these countries and didn't think about the geopolitical implications?
There is this immigrant angle to it, because you got the Raptor goons who look and act very much like ICE agents in a very real sense. Yeah, I saw a lot of people on Twitter who were like, oh, it's Superman versus ICE. And that's kind of the way some people understood it culturally. I think that comparison's a bit weaker than some of the others. It's like, well, they put people in cages. That's a law enforcement thing. It's not inherently geared towards immigration. I think that reading is a bit weaker personally. I don't think it's all there in the text. I think, though, people understand it that way. I think they're kind of primed to understand some of James Gunn's work through these lenses, which I think is a good thing. He's also, he wrote, I could be wrong about this, I think he wrote and directed a lot of Peacemaker season 2.
Oh.
And to spoil that a little bit, I haven't seen it, just keeping up with it culturally. A lot of that show is about Nazis being bad, which it shouldn't be controversial, I don't think. But he's going all in on it and addressing it to a current moment in culture and current issues, and exploring the issue through that lens, where it's not Indiana Jones and they're in the 80s or whatever, more contemporary. And that is something James Gunn clearly has his mind on. It's something he's exploring. I think it leaves this world, this universe, in a really interesting place, because James Gunn, he's an odd figure to run it, because he does have the more left politics in his work. He's very humorous. He's very creative. He's very passionate. You can find all sorts of clips of him acting out how different CGI characters should move and doing voices. I'm pretty sure he did the motion capture, or like the visual reference for some of the monkeys.
Oh, really?
Who were
typing on the keyboard?
Typing and screaming.
That's funny.
It's like, I'm sure he's having a blast with this.
Yeah.
I think it's so much different from the Snyderverse, because it's not heavy-handed. It doesn't feel like everyone is like, you're watching the Odyssey, or some Greek tragedy or something like that. I think a lot of it is, it feels modern. It feels like it's talking about current issues, not necessarily these ideas about like God, or is he a stand-in for Jesus, and Superman's getting resurrected, but in a more like, how should we actually go about our lives? What should we value? What should we do? What does it mean to be heroic? What does it mean to do justice? What causes should you take up to do justice in the modern day? I don't think that's something that was really explored in Zack Snyder's work, personally. There's him like, he's saving people from natural disasters. But I think in terms of what does it mean to be a hero? What does it mean to do justice? I think James Gunn's Superman tackles that in a much more interesting way. And I expect that his wider universe will continue to do so.
Yeah, the Snyderverse, it was less about the superheroes interacting with humans and the interaction with how do we not only save these people, how do we live with these people?
Yeah.
And how do we conduct ourselves to make it a conducive environment for coexisting and moving forward as a society. In this one, it seems like the issues, bringing in real world issues into the movie, makes it relatable. Yeah. And it's like, what would happen if Superman was dropped into our world? How would he deal with that? He would ignore everything and just be like, I'm going to go save that person.
Yeah.
And they say you can't do that. It's like, but that person needs help. There's not a line here. I can just cross this line.
Right.
And go save that person.
Yeah.
And so that I do think that adds depth that Zack Snyder's any of his movies really in the DC universe didn't have.
Yeah, I would
That
agree
level
with
of
that.
depth. I'm not trying to come out and just swing a hammer at the Snyderverse. We can do that another time because I would love to.
Dear gosh.
No, I think that those
Yeah, good luck walking that back.
Those two universes had two completely different purposes.
Yes.
Zack Snyder wanted it to be dark, and I don't want to say realistic because it's not realistic. It's just a very he tried to strike a very specific tone that I think always landed with mixed results.
That's fair.
The tone that he was going for, I got, but I don't think
Yeah.
it worked like 99% of the time. So, but whereas in this movie, I think what James Gunn was trying to do, regardless, and I don't think it offended anybody politically either.
No.
Not really. I don't think because
Which is impressive.
yeah,
Because in my reading, at least, of the film, it's very left politically.
sure.
But, I mean, a movie did really well. And I know a lot of people on both sides of the political aisle who really like this film because he embodies these universal ideals of truth and justice. And I think there's great value in seeing a fictional character apply those in circumstances and finding it appealing. And then I think it's up to the audience. I think the movie prods this, but I think it's up to the audience as well. Of trying to apply that in your own life. And I'm not trying to make Superman like Superman's your Sunday sermon and you should how can I apply Superman to my daily life?
Superman's my pastor.
But, right. Yeah, oh gosh. But legitimately, like I think that this movie, one of the nicest things I can say about it is that Superman is a hero. He does justice. And I think that his actions pose a very potent challenge of, are you doing justice? Or would you be the kind of person Superman wouldn't like? And I think that that's an impressive thing to do with a film. There's substance there. Not going to pretend it's Hamlet.
Right.
But it's refreshing to go see a superhero movie and it not be, Ant-Man, Quantumania. It's not nonsense. It's not incoherent. There's an argument here. And the argument is that gigantic corporations and unaccountable governments will try to do things that hurt people, vulnerable people, to increase their own power and increase their own bottom line. And it is heroic and just to stand up to that. That is the thesis of the film. And it's incredibly refreshing to have a film with a substantive idea like that. I think that that's worth exploring. And I think that it's incredibly relevant to present day events. And it's exciting. It's exciting to see where James Gunn will go with this. He has been remarkably consistent in the quality of his output recently. I think he's done like one project a year. Pretty consistently.
Really?
He did the Suicide Squad. He did Peacemaker. He did Creature Commandos. He did Superman. Peacemaker Season 2 is running now. Supergirl comes out next year. I don't remember how involved he is in that. And then Superman, Man of Tomorrow will come out tentatively in 2027. I believe he's done a different movie every single year.
Making a Clayface movie?
Okay. We can talk about that briefly.
Please? I mean, no, but please?
Super briefly. Super in brief. The biggest challenge that this universe is going to have is Batman. We don't need two Batmen. We like Pattinson's Batman. They don't appear to want Pattinson's in this DC universe. I think he should be. I think it'd be nice. Both of these films, The Batman and Superman, they're both about, oh, I am an orphan. My parents aren't who I thought they were. And I'm going up against this crazy incel loser man who hates me because he's jealous of me in a weirdly psychosexual way. That is both films, and in both films it's about the main character, whether it's Robert Pattinson's Batman or Superman. There's this idea of my parents don't define me. I don't have to bear the weight of their sins. And it is my job to inspire hope in the population, hope in the people. That's both movies. These characters would go so well together. Just put Pattinson in the DC universe. Just do it. Just do it. Thematically, it fits so well. I don't care that the first movie was grounded. I don't care. I don't care how much money it costs either. I don't care. Put him in the film. Put him in the universe. I have no idea why we're getting Clayface. It's a film.
Oh, okay.
I'm sure it'll be good. I don't know why it exists. And James Gunn, if you ask him about it, he's like, well, the script was ready. That's fair, man. That's fair, but why was there a script for it? You know, it's like, I would like to see what they do with Batman. That is the biggest question that this universe has. It's not an insubstantial one. You can recast Wonder Woman. You recast Green Lantern and it worked just fine. You can recast Aquaman, some of the other characters. Please recast the Flash. Gosh. Batman, he is the one that they have to deal with. And in my opinion, I am a firm supporter of merging the Batman into this universe.
Well, because it was the best Batman movie in, 10 years?
In my opinion, ever.
Okay.
That's a hot take.
That is
a hot take, and I'm sorry.
We need to talk about that one then. At
We
some
should.
point. We will. I could also see Clayface being their introduction to the horror genre, because that's how they're classifying this movie.
Yeah.
And according to Wikipedia, again, they steered me wrong last time, but it says the budget's $40 million.
Dear gosh.
40?
Maybe it's all CGI.
Really? Yeah, but like that's not cheap either.
What was Joker's budget? Wasn't Joker's budget dirt cheap? That was their most profitable movie because it didn't cost anything to make, but it still made $1 billion. It's just a guy walking around.
55 to
That's
70.
Well, see, now I'm impressed because how is Clayface's?
That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
I'm saying like because if you look at let's look at Superman's budget. $350 million.
So we could get a Superman sequel, or we could get like 8 Clayface movies. It's up to you guys. What do you think? What do you think
are they
James Gunn should make?
Yeah, that's.
Let them know.
Is that the sign-off question? Would you rather have 1 Superman sequel or 8 Clayface movies? And what would those 8 Clayface movies be about individually? Gosh. That could have like a 2-hour runtime each.
I've learned my lesson. There have been movies in the past that I've had no faith in, and they've turned out great. Maybe Clayface will be a slam dunk.
It could be. It's a low risk. If that budget's accurate, it's low risk, high reward.
I'll be interested to see what they do with the CGI in that, because that's cheap.
Well, I think it's cheap. I don't know if any of these are real.
Not to be too negative, but I don't. Maybe it'll be the Insomniac Spider-Man thing, where he's been Clayface for like a decade, and he gets clay powers at the very end.
Like, isn't his?
He's just like a guy with make. I'm saying they could do the Insomniac thing.
How is it a horror movie? At that point,
he's a spooky guy.
He's a spooky guy.
Serial killer. He uses makeup, and the first. This is an awful pitch. This is the worst pitch I've ever heard. He's a serial killer with makeup for like the first hour and 10 minutes, and then in the last like 15 minutes of the film, he gets his clay powers. And that's where they spend all the CGI money.
$35 million goes into that scene.
I'm thinking like 20 million.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Obviously,
sorry.
I'm kidding. That'd be horrific.
Well,
they've said that they want to base it off like the animated series.
Well, isn't his origin story like he gets disfigured by like some gangster, and then he just decides to go become clay? It's with some scientist.
Okay, so
what are we doing? I'm sorry. What are we doing?
My point of reference for it is Batman the Animated Series. And if I remember correctly, don't kill me if I'm wrong, I think he gets disfigured. And then there's like an experimental medicine or makeup or procedure or something like that, or substance, really, that they promise will restore his appearance, and it doesn't. The animated series episode is phenomenal, and that's what they said they're basing the show off, the Clayface movie off of. Because he's like a movie star, he's disfigured. Right, so it'd be like Tom Cruise getting horribly disfigured. Only he can't be in movies anymore because he's ugly, and nobody wants to see that, apparently, in this universe. And Clayface, phenomenal character, phenomenal villain. Really strong character to lead some stories. I don't think he's very strong if we do it without Batman. I think it's kind of a Venom situation where you get Venom without Spider-Man. It's like, you can do it, I guess, but it's not going to be as strong as it could be otherwise.
Yeah, it seems, again, it's relatively low risk.
Yeah.
But I don't know anything about Clayface, I guess, besides the Lego Batman game. And I never once thought about how in the world did this person get like this. And to think that it's a choice is wild.
I think it's an accident. It's like getting a plastic surgery. You think, oh, this is
what kind of plastic surgery is that? Like,
you get a plastic surgery and you think you're gonna look great, and then you look freakish, and you spend all this money, and insurance won't cover the replacement. Like, that's kind of the horror, I think, of the Clayface situation.
Sure,
I think it's trying to do something that you think is fine, and then you end up weird, and you can't reverse it. I think that's the angle that they like to go with. My point of reference is the animated series, and then Arkham City, which Clayface is in. And
is he horrifying?
Spoilers for Arkham City, a game that's really old at this point. He plays the Joker. So the gimmick is that, like, the Joker is sick, he can't do anything, and so the Joker hires Clayface to play him in the events of the plot. So he's filling in for Joker, essentially. And then he reveals himself and they do a big monster fight. That's it.
Oh.
Nothing crazy.
Okay. He has his uses. But again, as a side character, as a main villain, even perhaps in an episode of the animated series, as a main character, I'm not sure. I've been wrong before. I could come back in a year and really be eating my words when Clayface is released, and instead of being Morbius, it is Scarface, for all I know. We'll see. He's done magic before, but we'll see what happens. Yeah. There's a Google entry for the Batman Part 2. I don't know if that's real or not.
It's real. It was supposed to come out. When are we recording this? It was supposed to come out last week. But it was supposed to initially. But it's been delayed so many times and it's encountered so many production issues that it's about 2 years away. So, we'll see. It'll be like a 6 or 7 year wait after the original between it and the sequel, which is a long time. It's a long time.
Wow.
But we'll see.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, it definitely is. Things are looking up.
Yeah.
For DC for the first time in a long time.
I would agree.
Probably since Man of Steel.
Don't. That's bad. That's not a good sign.
Sorry, I meant right before people walked into the theater to go see Man of Steel.
Supergirl, Clayface, Superman, Man of Tomorrow, which is what the film's going to be called. They're saying it's going to be called Man of Tomorrow. It's not. It's going to be called Superman, Man of Tomorrow. They're going to repeat.
Is this a huge sticking point?
Not just for me.
Why?
For me. Because
Why?
I know. I sense that James Gunn's going to backtrack. He's like, no, it's just called Man of Tomorrow. No, it's not. You're gonna backtrack. You're gonna walk it back. This film initially was called Superman Legacy.
He
walked it back.
That's the project name.
Maybe, but
they call them whatever they want.
It's gonna be
production.
Maybe they're gonna take an angle and it's like, oh well, Lex Luthor's the Man of Tomorrow. It's like, well,
he's the man of yesterday.
Well, but he might run for president.
What?
It's a big.
Hold on.
That's
No.
that's a big Lex Luthor story arc.
Okay, but here's the
He
thing.
runs for president.
If
He becomes president. You're telling me James Gunn? It's calling out to him like it's a Green Goblin mask. It's calling out to him.
I know.
He can sense it.
I understand.
Every time James Gunn wakes up and he checks the news, he sees Lex Luthor
running for president,
he sees him,
on
he's
his
like-
Apple newsfeed.
He's like, I'm a criminal. I'm running for president. It's like crack cocaine to James Gunn. He's like, I have to. I have to do it.
I know.
It's so relevant. I'm
James
Gunn. I have to do it.
If James Gunn is going
He
to
can't
stay,
resist
if
it.
James Gunn is
Or
going to
anybody
stay,
else, they'd be fine. They'd be totally content telling a different story. For James Gunn, this is crack cocaine. This is his kryptonite. It's kryptonite.
But why does he want to get closer to it? Everyone acts like kryptonite means that they voluntarily go and try to be in close proximity with it. That's not how kryptonite works.
That's true. It's his weakness. It's his
it's
addiction.
It is his weakness.
It's just
but-
calling out to him like
but-
it is the
but
Green
would be
Goblin
like-
mask.
It would be like if kryptonite was on the other side of this room and I'm Superman. And I'm like, oh man, there's Lex Luthor's face running for president on that kryptonite. I'm going to get closer and act like it's not kryptonite, even though I know it's kryptonite. Because the way you ended Superman, you cannot have Lex Luthor be the president
I think he can.
without the public going bananas.
Going bananas? Like,
He
like
gave-
they're a bunch of crazy monkeys
He gave
at their computers?
He gave the public.
I think the public would do that.
He gave the public such a prominent role in this movie. And yes, I know
Yeah.
we're saying that Superman has moved past public opinion,
Right.
but the public has not stopped having an opinion.
You don't think that the public would support politicians who are against their interests and are bad people?
I don't think that no matter how famous or rich somebody is, if
Ooh.
they open a rift in the middle of the equivalent to Manhattan, and it is proven that it's their fault.
He didn't do it. It's corporate. It was an accident.
What do you mean?
It was like a Chernobyl situation. See how easy that
Superman's there.
was? Well, we can't trust Superman. You see how easy this is?
No, it's really not. Or else the movie means nothing.
No.
The
No.
movie means absolutely nothing if you're right.
Now I've hired 1 million monkeys to type endless tweets.
You're telling me Superman's not going to see that
why
again?
you're wrong.
You're telling me that he's not going to see that
And
coming. He pulled that card.
why I'm right.
He pulled the Russian propaganda card once.
Yes.
And Superman's not going to see that coming again?
You think Superman's gonna kill 1 million monkeys?
I think he's gonna unplug their internet router. Like, all he has to do is rip it out of the way, not to kill anybody.
I love the implication that they're all that all of these
It's just
they funnel back to like one cable that's plugged into a wall
separate,
somewhere.
There's a separate pocket dimension of just cables and routers stacked to the ceiling. It's all ran through one cable.
You know what I'm surprised
What?
we haven't gotten? I'm surprised we haven't gotten. Maybe we have. Maybe we haven't. It wasn't well liked, and that's why I've never heard of it. I'm surprised we haven't gotten a Superman story where the kryptonite functions like a drug. You know, it's like a little crystal meth, and Superman has to grapple with like being addicted to it. You know, so it makes him weaker. But then there's also this temptation angle to it.
So you're saying you
Does
want a
it?
world where
I'm saying
where Superman snorts
I'm
kryptonite
I'm saying
just to see what it does.
Oh, I'm saying that to me feels like a natural development of the metaphor. Because the whole deal with kryptonite, like you were saying earlier, is like, well, it's not interesting. It kills any scene it's in. Because
instantly.
oh, it's there, then he loses. It's not there, then he wins. That's
Or we're going to
often
MacGuffin
how
our
it's
way out of
played.
making sure it's kicked out of the room.
Right, yeah.
Somehow, some way. Which this movie does, to be fair, to its credit,
Making
does
it-
well.
You could subvert it that way. I get they don't want to make Superman a drug addict. But I think
Why?
doing that, well, because there's... I'm not answering that. You know why. I'm not dignifying that with the response. Figure it out.
Figure it out.
Turning kryptonite into something that he could want for some reason, I think is a really interesting subversion. Because then he has to sacrifice himself. You know, he has to go without something that he wants in order to do good to others. That's a fascinating tension.
Yeah, but the thing is him actually snorting lines of kryptonite.
I get that. And you can make it palatable. You can make it palatable. He's in a fight. He loses. And for some reason, unbeknownst to it, maybe he gets poisoned. He gets poisoned and to purge it from his system, they have to do this kryptonite thing so that they can apply treatment. And they don't get it out all the way. And it's like a Tony Stark thing where he always has this thing inside of him that's bad. And he has to keep it at bay somehow. And maybe he has to keep it at bay with kryptonite. So maybe it's something where like...
So he's like addicted to painkillers.
Exactly. Something like that, where maybe the treatment only works on humans. Maybe his body's too advanced for it. You know, like Captain America, we see his metabolism so fast that he can't get drunk. So there's that scene in the first Avenger where he's downing beers like mad after Bucky dies, and he can't get drunk. He can't escape. Maybe it's something like that, where he has a disease inside of him that's affecting his Kryptonian body, but they can only treat it if he's a human. So they have to like give him kryptonite, so he becomes weaker, and then they're able to turn it into like this painkiller thing. Because then what makes him weak is the thing that he wants. That's an interesting character tension. I get we're not going to get it because you don't want to make Superman or Mickey Mouse or Bugs Bunny. You don't want these corporate icons to do anything that's blatantly bad for the brand.
Dude, Mickey Mouse doing lines is such a... It's such a mental image, bro.
Well, he's Superman. He is this icon, and we're not going to get that. I think it's an interesting character. You know what? Give it to Supergirl. Well, she's a mess. She's a disaster.
She is a mess. Back with the misogyny, but this one I'm on board for.
She seems like a fun character. She seems like her life is a disaster. She seems like she's all over the place. And give her the microdosing kryptonite painkillers story arc. Because you can still get the theme. You can still get the theme of what I want is what makes me weakest.
Yeah, but without
you can still get it, but without the baggage of ruining the brand.
Not the baggage, but you don't have the baggage, but then you also don't have the gravity of it's Superman addicted to painkillers.
Okay, so go with Supergirl. I'm hyped for Supergirl. If it doesn't have this kryptonite painkiller addiction arc, I will be disappointed. If there is not a scene of her on an alien planet at a bar, dancing and being disoriented and going like, oh, to numb the emotional pain, I'm going to snort kryptonite. If that scene's not in the film, I'm going to be disappointed.
The scene I want.
I'm going to be frustrated. I want that scene in the movie.
I want
it's gonna exist.
I want the end of the movie to just be Lex Luthor has the police execute a search warrant at her house, and they just see lines of kryptonite on her coffee table.
Where did you get all of this? Okay,
Crypto's shaking in the corner.
I get how it sounds, but what it boils down to essentially is kryptonite's a scene killer. It's not interesting. To make it something that a character wants is a fascinating tension.
Well, and I was going to say,
it's interesting.
They do that with relationships in movies all the time.
Yeah.
They do it to where this person's not good for me, or this person makes my life way harder. I can't be a superhero if I have someone I care about.
Yes.
They do that with basically every superhero you can think of.
It's always the Spider-Man dynamic.
Yep.
Oh, I need to give up this relationship because what I want is making me weaker. It's making me vulnerable.
And I need to be selfless.
Yes.
To continue being a hero.
I think compromise, give it to Supergirl. Give her the drug arc. I think it's fun. I think it's fun.
I'm having fun thinking about it.
It's an interesting character tension. And it's not this shallow make him a drug addict. It's make there be a fundamental tension at the heart of this character. You know, make what they want be directly opposed to their duty.
Agreed.
And I think that that's a fascinating character dynamic, and I think that there's potential to explore. If you don't want to do it with Superman because you don't want him to do drugs, and he's a corporate icon and a symbol for everything that's good in the world, and he does have these immigrant undertones, and you probably shouldn't do a crazy drug storyline with your immigrant character stand-in.
I mean, Supergirl technically is too.
But she's not on Earth. She's going to be floating around in space in different places.
Yeah, she said it prominently because she goes to planets with red suns because she can get drunk there.
Exactly. I'm telling you, they're setting it up.
It's definitely good. Okay, I can see them doing it in like an opening scene. I could see that.
Exactly. Oh, her life's
like,
a
we're
disaster.
Supergirl.
She's at a party.
Yeah.
Oh, she's wasted. She's on drugs. Oh, a character sympathetic stumbles in and is like, hey, you shouldn't be doing that. She blows him off, and then she goes on this adventure, and Lobo's going to be there. He's going to be played by Jason Momoa, I'm pretty sure. And they're going to roam around space and do a revenge plot. Is the premise of the movie. And I really hope that we see this type of story. I want it. I think it'd be interesting. I don't think, James... Oh, you know what? Guardians 3. When they're on the planet, the perfect planet, and they're driving around, Star-Lord like looks out the window, and he looks into the alley, and he sees this meth trade. He's the little like animal guy, and he's like, here's my animal crystal meth. Animals. I think we get it. I think it's a slam dunk. I think it's classic James Gunn. There's a precedent for it and everything.
In the
James Gunn filmography, I think it's go for it. Go for it.
We know you want to do it. We know you do. Just like Lex Luthor running for president. I mean, that's just sad. That's just sad.
I know it keeps him up at night too.
I mean,
I know it keeps him up at night.
That is his kryptonite. You're absolutely right. He's disintegrating the campaign posters and then doing lines of those at home. He's that
Maybe
addicted.
that's why the movie's coming out so fast. He's like,
because he knows his mind's almost gone.
No, he's like, we have to get this out before his term ends.
Oh, oh no!
I promise you. I know James Gunn is hooked on this idea, and he's pushing everyone to get it out ASAP. I know it keeps him up at night. I know he's obsessed with it. I can't prove it.
I'm telling you,
I have a strong suspicion.
I will take back everything good I said about Superman if that's the case. I just don't think it makes sense. If you're gonna do that, you need to write a movie that supports that for the sequel.
No, that makes total sense.
You can't.
Okay, no.
You can't do that to Lex Luthor and then be like,
yes, you can.
How?
Yes, you can.
How?
We've done worse.
We?
Not personally.
What do you mean?
I mean the world with politicians.
No.
Gurkos, he was an elected politician in Bravia. They probably elected Gurkos like 7 or 9 times across a 50-year stretch.
You think he would have gotten reelected?
I think Gurkos keeps getting reelected, and then I think everyone in Bravia says that the actions of his government don't represent them. That's what I think happens with Gurkos. I think you get U.S. politicians on camera, and they're like, Gurkos must stop this. This is Gurkos' war. Like, well, that's fine, but Gurkos has term limits. They vote every 2 years. It's probably not just Gurkos. At that point, it's probably a Bravia thing.
Bravia
Dear
thing only.
Gosh, cut that. Don't keep that. Cut that.
Oh man, we're not cutting anything. What are you talking about?
You know what? No, that's fine.
Yeah, I know it's great.
You know,
I think I agree that politicians do bad things that
good.
Other people couldn't get away with.
Yes.
And they end up getting reelected. I agree that happens, and that's happened all throughout history. That happens all the time.
It's true.
I'm saying that now you have a clear hero in the scenario, whereas in the real world, you don't have a clear person who is like, oh, this person is just objectively horrible. But we have this incredible person over here who can fill in his shoes, or can at least tell us that guy's not a good guy. You should go with somebody else. We don't have that in the real world. We have Superman in this world. We don't have Superman in our world.
Superman can't run for president. He wasn't born in the U.S. So barring a constitutional amendment,
You're telling me
he's not going to win.
in the Superman universe, it would be the most impossible thing is a constitutional amendment ratified by 2/3 of the states.
Yeah. Yes, I am. It's not happening. It's not happening.
You know what? It's just, it's impossible. Apparently, like funding the government too. Anyway.
Here's my thing. Last thing I'm going to say. Make Lex Luthor run for president. I know it's going to do. Okay. But then have
him store lines of kryptonite.
I've considered it.
And then he gets some of Superman's powers over time. Retconning
It works.
everything about kryptonite.
Okay. My idea was good. Yours is
What are you talking
garbage.
about? No.
Garbage idea.
No.
What if we put in kryptonite, but it did the opposite?
You can't
That's
tell
bad.
me
It's bad. No.
that you can't tell me there is not a world.
I just did.
There is not a world.
Not good.
There is not a world in which Lex Luthor does what he does, and then Superman exists and can tell everybody after proving, oh, Lex Luthor pushed a false narrative that Superman was a horrible human being, and then Superman goes, yeah, I still haven't done anything wrong.
You don't think there'd be skeptics?
See, that was my point 10 minutes ago.
I think that was like an hour.
That was an hour ago.
There's skeptics. Okay, last thing I'm
not
going to say.
50% of the
Last thing I'm
country.
going to say. Have Lex Luthor run for president, and then have Clark Kent be like a reporter. Have him do political reporting. Have him follow a campaign around. Have him interview Lex Luthor.
Okay, that would actually be legit.
Have him interview Lex Luthor as
That would
Clark
be
Kent.
legit.
See? I'm telling you. Do that. Have some Clark Kent in there.
I think
Have him interview Lex Luthor. Have him interview the opponent of Lex Luthor, who's probably going to be the greatest candidate ever in American election. It's just going to be so clear cut.
he's going to be the most milquetoast guy.
Yeah, he's going to be like, I think we
inoffensive.
should give money to children who are starving.
Yes.
And Lex Luthor's going to be like, I think we should round up all metahumans and put them back in the Shadow Realm.
Do you think
Put them in the Shadow Realm.
Do you think Lex Luthor like runs with like Superman colors? And like has a complete 180 on
Yes.
Superman? That's the only way I think it
Ooh,
works.
a 180 on Superman.
I think it's and Clark Kent has to interview him knowing who he is, knowing what he's done. Because it's kind of unclear how much the public knows at the end of at the end of the movie.
Yeah.
And then Superman would have to fill in those gaps. But if Lex Luthor moves quick enough and he runs a campaign essentially like cozying up to Superman, and Superman can't really do that much about it, not because, or I guess because he's disinterested.
Yeah.
He doesn't. He's seen him as like a little kid, and he's like, "Oh well,
Yeah.
whatever." Maybe Lex Luthor had. Maybe people can change.
That'd
sold.
be so good.
I'm sold.
If he spends like the first half of the movie being like,
I've done a 180,
maybe Lex Luthor's different. It's like, dude, no, he's not.
and then maybe over the course of that interview, it's like a cinematic, like Frost Nixon, where it's like slowly throughout the interview, Clark Kent realizes what went wrong.
And like Lois Lane is there the whole time, and she's like, Clark, what are you doing?
Maybe, or
He's evil.
maybe-
He's evil, and he's like, no, I don't believe you.
in that interview, Lex reveals that he knows Clark Kent is Superman.
Okay.
In a filmed interview, like he hints
they'd
at
be giving away the
knowing
game
things, like,
so
just-
early.
But not if it's near the end of the movie.
Okay, if it's near the end of the second one.
Maybe it's not filmed, but maybe it's
Okay,
like this is
okay.
the only conversation Lex and Superman have had.
Yeah.
But it's him as Clark Kent. It's not him as Superman.
Okay.
And there's some sort of tension. Maybe he doesn't reveal that he knows. Maybe he doesn't know. But there's something there that's just like that just turns the plot on a dime.
Yeah.
In like a fixed like interview professional setting in his role as Clark Kent, not Superman. And that's a pivot point instead of just a Superman pivot point.
And I think it'd be interesting because they've shared concept art of like Lex Luthor and his power suit, which he uses to fight Superman. Have them do that, and then have them team up. Have there be a bigger threat, you know? Have it be Brainiac or something like that from outer space, a planetary threat that they both have to agree that they might not like each other, but they have to work together to stop this greater threat. Have it be a really fun
For
movie.
the good of the nation.
Exactly.
And the world.
You have Lex Luthor say the nation. You have Superman say the world. It just...
Oh.
I'm so hyped for this movie, man.
They're not going to do any of this. You know what?
We're going to
Weirdly
go see.
enough-
It's going to be the worst
weirdly
movie
enough,
we've ever
For the
seen.
good of the people, James Gunn will not snort the kryptonite. He will have the hero's
No.
journey. He will have the hero's journey of saying no to what he likes and what he wants for the good of the people. Now, would I love a 2.5 hour-long Superman movie with political intrigue throughout, I would love that.
Yeah.
But they will never make another movie ever again. He will lose his job if that happens.
He's gotten away with a lot. He's gotten away with so much.
I know.
I think
it would still have a $350 million budget, even if it was just 2.5 hours of Frost Nixon. It just would, because it's a Superman movie. But they'd lose money on that.
I'm excited for this movie. I'm very excited for this movie. This is going to be a good one. And if it's not, I'm gonna be devastated. And I'm gonna come back and say that this was the worst movie ever. We'll see.
Wow.
We'll see. I think it'll be good. I have faith in the universe. I have faith in James Gunn's writing ability, his vision.
His foundation's good.
Yes.
This entry movie, it's a good place to build off of.
Yeah.
I feel like. Is that the end?
I think
are we done?
I think there's nothing else I can say about it.
I have no clue how long that ran. I'm fairly confident it's longer than the movie's runtime. Which I absolutely love.
It's probably fine.
Please like and subscribe, share.
Yes.
And again, tell us, do you want 1 Superman sequel or 8 Clayface movies? Unless you have an actual question you want them to debate.
If there's something you want us to talk about,
That's a good point.
please put it down in the comments and we will have a look. We're going to try to branch out. We're going to try to do a variety of topics. This is not just superheroes.
It's not comic books. It's not just comic books.
Nope.
It's not just one universe or one type of movie.
We're just doing stories. So books, movies, TV shows, video games, whatever it is, so long as it's reasonable, so long as it's a narrative, we will consider it.
Alrighty.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching.